knew that we were living in the last days, but baby, when the people are in an uproar because a pastor is preaching the Bible, you know we in the last days. There's no way people are upset because a pastor is preaching to obey authority, to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, to obey the laws of the land, and to not cheat on your taxes.
This video has been going viral of Pastor Phillip explaining or even encouraging people to teach their children to respect authority. Apparently, he's been receiving a lot of backlash from this video. Let's watch together.
Stop blaming white cops for the killing of black kids. Instead, teach your black children to be obedient towards authority. And I don't care if most of y'all are black. You need to teach your children to obey authority. We need to teach our sons and daughters to obey authority. We need to teach our children to not fight against authority, not fight against cops, not rebel. Be model citizens. Stop being rebellious towards authority. Be submitted to laws and ordinances. Stop parking in handicapped spaces unless you want a reason to park there. Pay your taxes and stop cheating on your documents. I'm gonna go deep. I'm about to get everybody mad. Stop bending your numbers. Watch. The Lord said, give back to Caesar what belongs to him. That is, be submitted to governmental authority. See, now watch. I see all of y'all looking at me. You know why you're looking at me like that? Because you don't read. After Jesus is resurrected, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. When I was 15 years old, I'm walking up Hollis. I'm walking down Hollis in Queens. And an Italian cop drove right by me. And I locked eyes with the cop, and we stared at each other, and he drove by. My ego and his ego. No cameras, no iPhones, no social media, no recordings. And then he says one word to me. Listen to what he says to me. Listen to what he says to me. He says to me, watch, say something. And in that moment, I hear the voice of my mom and my father. Son, obey authority. Son, respect your elders. Son, don't be in trouble out there with the police. Son, make sure you listen to people when they talk, and I can hear them blah, 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 blah. No. And in that moment, with that Glock pressed to my head, I got to make a decision. Either my ego is going to be strong, God, or my submission to authority is going to be stronger than my ego. And if I have not been taught to obey authority, and because I'm not saved, I'm separated from God now for all eternity by a cop's bullet. Why? Because my ego was stronger than my submission.
So I 100% agree with him. And the reason why is because the way I was brought up, as I was brought up with Caribbean parents, and they always teach us to respect our elder. They teach us to respect them. And I truly believe that all of this starts from home. The parents have to teach their children to respect them. If your children don't respect those who brought them into this world, their parents, who are they going to respect? So I believe that it's very important that children should respect their parents. The Bible talks about that children should obey their parents so they could live long on this earth. So I believe that when they start from home, respecting their parents, when they enter society, they will understand that their parents is the first authority in their life. Now, police officers. So if they start from home, then they will respect authority at school, and then they will respect authority when it comes to the law. The reason why nowadays I believe that there's a lot of bad interaction with police officers is because the children have no respect, or the youth of society have no respect for authority. Now, not only no respect, but they don't know how to talk to their elders. I remember growing up, if in Jamaica, and you're passing someone who is older than you don't say good morning, they have permission to give you a slap or to punish you. And if you go and tell your mother that you pass this elderly person and not say good morning, she will punish you too. So that's how we were brought up. That's how I was brought up, to respect the elders. So when I see people or young people fighting and cursing out their elders, I find that to be very, very, very disgraceful. I do agree with him. I don't understand why he's getting so much backlash.
What he said wasn't wrong. It was absolutely right. People should definitely submit and obey to authority. No one's taken away from that. But I think what threw everybody off was the example that he used. Because using the example for black kids getting killed by white cops, it kind of had people like, okay, I'm finna exit stage right from this message. Not discrediting what the message was. The message was very real and it was very true, and a lot of people do need to hear it. But at the same side, I think that it was a very bad take to use that specific example. And the reason I say that is because he mentioned black kids getting killed by white cops, but there's a lot of nuances to that situation. That situation is more layered than them simply just not complying, because there's been plenty of events, plenty of instances where people have complied and they still lost their lives tragically. That situation is not just black and white. It's not just, it's either this way or it's that way. There's a whole lot. It's a very layered circumstance, which is what he left out, which is what rubbed a lot of people wrong. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that even disagree with this take because, I think I'm coming out pretty neutral. And I'm sure most of those people that will disagree with how a lot of us feel about the statement that he made, they probably won't be the same skin color. Some of them will, but a lot of them won't, which is expected because I don't expect white people to understand the minds and the struggles and the trauma of black people. They've never been black a day in their lives. So that, of course, when we sit there and talk about how we feel about these certain topics and, how much layered, how much more complex it is than they seem to make it, they don't get it. So honestly, there's no point in even trying to make people get it who don't want to get it.
But I've been watching his videos. He's been going viral lately. And, I don't know what type of doctrine his church preaches, but I truly believe that some things that he say is very important for Christians to know.
Phillip Anthony Mitchell. So I have visited his...
So this woman goes on to say that Pastor Anthony Mitchell is wrong when he starts to quote the Bible saying we should submit to authority, and he applies it to black young men when they encounter a police officer. Now let me just say, this is scary. We should never put our skin color above the word of God. And even more so, we should never put politics above Jesus. It's very interesting. We see the picture of David before he was ever king. He was running for his life against King Saul, and he submitted himself. When he could have even taken his life, he did not raise his hand. And this is the perfect picture of what Jesus did for us. He submitted himself even to death, dying on the cross, being buried, and rising again. The best love, the greatest love of all, is to lay down your life for a friend, to turn the other cheek, even when you're in the right. And this is the gospel. We must believe that Jesus Christ is Lord of all, not our skin color and not our political beliefs.
So I will be sharing a lot of his videos because I believe that, although like I said, I'm not sure what doctrine he preached, but I truly believe that anyone that is spreading the gospel should be shared. Let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.